Chapter 7. Dreams? More like nightmares. At home, Eva found her parents snuggled into each other in bed, but when she tried to talk to them, they didn't respond. She called 911, but Eva knew it wouldn't help. Only she could fix this problem. Stealing from the other world was making her parents sick, maybe even killing them. She went into her room as she waited for the ambulance and gathered up all the things she had taken from Eva 2.0. Eva had taken so many things at this point, she had to use a big rolling suitcase to fit everything in. She heard the ambulance sirens a few blocks away and went into high gear. She rolled the suitcases into the garage next to the bike she'd taken. She was back in the house just in time to answer the door. She led the EMTs to her parents and then snuck back to the garage. She hopped on the stolen bike and awkwardly rode it while pulling the rolling suitcase. Hopefully her parents would be safe until she set this awful situation right. Slowly, Eva made her way to Main Street, hoping for the shop to appear as usual. It was only 4:30, so she hoped she could convince the proprietor to let her in. But when she looked down the alley, there was no shop. There was no sign, no door, nothing. Eva sat back on her bike and started crying. Her parents were depending on her. She had to make things right. But how could she find the shop? She wiped her eyes and looked down the street. There she saw Sebastian, the boy from her homeroom. He turned down the alley. Something about the way he walked seemed odd to Eva. She rode the bike, tucking the suitcase to where he was walking. There was the sign, Dreams Come True shop. Apparently, this store could magically move. Raven's Pass really was a strange little place. Sebastian was just going in the door. The store was open after all. Eva rode the bike to the door and caught it before it closed. She hauled the suitcase and the bike in and saw a surprised and angry proprietor talking to Sebastian. Wasting no time, she yelled, "Do not come in here, Sebastian! Go home now!" She ran the bike and the suitcase to the... She wiped her eyes and looked down the street to the dressing room, feeling the proprietor walking briskly behind her. She felt his hand grab at the suitcase just as she was pulling everything into the dressing room. She yanked hard just in time to slam and lock the dressing room door. Without hesitating, she opened the mirror and jumped through with everything she'd taken. Using the same technique, she rode the bike and pulled the suitcase all the way to Eva 2.0's house. She dragged everything around the back and set it next to a door. A window was open. Eva could hear Eva 2.0 crying. "I don't know where these things are going," she was sobbing. "My parents are blaming me and my friends barely want to hang out with me anymore." The crying got louder. I feel like I'm going crazy." Eva felt a pang of guilt. She had hurt people just because she'd wanted to fit in. Well, she was making it right. Finally. She rang the doorbell in the back and then took off running, hoping that Eva 2.0's life would improve now that her stuff wasn't being stolen. When Eva got back to the store door, she was relieved to find it still open. She walked into the shop and the proprietor said, "Back so soon?" Eva was so glad this proprietor and the one from her world had clearly not
world had clearly not
talked. For the last time, she muttered. The proprietor grinned snidely and said, "Ho, you'll be back." Eva walked quickly and confidently to the dressing room. She grabbed a cane from a display and said, "Actually, no one will be." She ran the rest of the way to the dressing room and jumped through the mirror again. When she was on the other side, her side, she took a huge swipe at the glowing mirror and shattered it in one stroke. The glass fell to the ground, revealing nothing but a wall behind it. The portal was gone. A loud "No!" rang through the shop. The whole store began to shake. The proprietor from her world rushed at her as she exited the dressing room. He had grown somehow taller, and his legs and arms had become spindly and elongated. His eyes glowed a neon green. "What have you done?" he thundered at her. Eva ducked between his now incredibly long legs and ran through the store. Furniture, trinkets, and racks of clothing came raining down and toppling over. After what felt like an eternity of scrambling, Eva reached the door and ran out. The minute she did, she heard a huge sucking sound. Suddenly, the door and the sign and everything else about the shop was gone. Eva was in her own world, and she was safe.